Well, hello, welcome to episode 189 of the Confident Live Marketing Podcast. In today's episode, we're going behind the scenes with my good friend, Jeff Sieh. Let's bring in Jeff. Where are you, Jeff? You're here. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on. I always love being on your show, Ian, because I learned so much from you.
Oh, well, likewise. I wasn't sure whether you're being sarcastic there or not, but
no, I do. I love. I find new tools and stuff, and we share things.
Yeah. That's true. It is true. It is true. I think we do like the geeky techie stuff, and in today's episode we're gonna go a bit geeky and techie behind the scenes. And so I'm using a new version of Ecamm, which is cool. It's got a few little things I'm playing with. It's called Video ISO. So I'll let you know how I get on with that. Are you also broadcasting to Amazon Live today?
I am. In fact, we just went live over there. So I'm actually. We'll talk about this later, but that tool, because we had some issue with some of our other things, because we go multi-platform all the time, and Amazon wasn't working with this particular company we were using, and so I tried this new one that you told me. It's called 5 Cent CDN, I think it's what it is, and so that is allowing me to still go everywhere and actually go to Amazon Live. But let's just go ahead and talk about this because. One of the coolest things, and we both use
Jeff,
Restream.
Don't talk too much about it because we need to. This is always the problem. Like my guests end up saying all the kind of the cool stuff before I press record on the podcast machine.
Okay,
so we'll do that.
Okay,
we'll do that.
I'll keep quiet.
Yeah. Shut up. Come on. Like you got to get the guests under control. Anyway, Martin Buckland is here. Great seeing Martin. Good day, gentlemen. And of course, like we all saw each other back in 2019, didn't we? We were all hanging out. I think that's the first time you met Martin, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, it is. You need to have me back over because that'll be.
I know fun. we need to do it. Well, I'm actually going down to London next Thursday, which I know is Thanksgiving, which is the first time I've been in London since 2019. So like it's going to be a very strange experience. And Katie Simpson is here. Great to see you, Katie. Hi guys, bearded and non-bearded. Yes,
that is true.
That is true.
It's Beauty and the Beast, but Ian gets really upset when you call him a beast. So
I think it's time to get on with the show. Let's do it. I start recording for the podcast, and we'll be with you just after this. Hello, welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show. It's time for another behind the scenes video showcasing the gear, tech, and setup of a live streamer. And in today's episode, it's time for my good friend Jeff Sieh to share his setup, and we'll be delving into his studio setup as well as his favorite tools, tech, and gear. It's going to be fun and perhaps a little bit geeky too. Let's get on with it right now.
Welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Helping you level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of confident live video.
Optimize your mindset and communication and increase your confidence in front of the camera.
Get confident with the tech and gear.
And get confident with the content and marketing.
Together, we can go live!
Well, hello. It is episode 189 of the Confident Live Marketing Show. And in today's episode, we're going to get a little bit geeky. We're going to go behind the scenes. My good friend Jeff Sieh is here. We're going to look at his studio setup, his favorite gear and tools. So I can't wait to get on with that. In fact, let's do this right now. Let's bring in Jeff, and I'll just introduce him to you. He is an international speaker and visual marketing consultant. He hosts the Social Media News live show and podcast, and is also head beard at Manly Pinterest Tips. Jeff has worked with and produced a wide range of content for various companies, including Guy Kawasaki, Kim Gast, Social Media Examiner, and Tailwind. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Oh, I've got applause.
Of course, we always like to roll out the red carpet for our guests.
I just want to say with your intro, I love it that I know it's your kids at the end of that, saying, "Hey, we can go live." I think that is so cool. So anyway, I've been wanting to tell you that, but I just I'm going to do it now. So very, very
Oh,
cool.
thank you,
Like how
thank you very much. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
actually thinking like coming up to episode 200, whether it is probably time to update that. And actually, my son's voice is broken, so it'll be together we can go live. It'll be like
It'll
that.
be like a little scary, like yeah, little
Yeah, have some
drama.
like nightmare music in the background. So,
Right.
well, I can see Martin Buckland is in the house, as I was saying just before I pressed record, and great to see you, Martin. And Katie Simpson is here and coming up with some ideas for us two together. Why not create a singing whole wood carving show? I'm not sure that would necessarily attract the right clientele, but what do you think, Jeff?
You never know. There's probably something. It would be a very niche market, the singing wood carving show.
Yeah. Well, just if you don't know, Jeff is does a lot of different types of live streaming. He's on Amazon Live. He's on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn with his new social media news live with Grace Duffy. But you also do, Jeff, don't you? You do wood carving shows as well, which I actually I'm not into wood carving myself, but there's something really therapeutic about watching you live wood carving.
So I actually did it last night. I had wood carving Wednesday, and I'm gonna show off some of my eCam stuff here. But this is my overhead cam, and I think it's gonna work. Is it not? No, it's not. So let me see.
Oh,
what's
that's
going on here.
annoying.
Well,
there
it
we
goes.
go.
Yeah. So this is some of the wood carvings that I've done, and I actually do these online. So like I did one on Amazon Live and on my channels yesterday. So it's a lot of fun. I really, why not make money while you're doing your hobby? And so it's, I did it during COVID, and I thought, just to give something, because people were cooped up and they were kind of stressed out. And I thought, this is just going to be fun and just kind of chill and chat. And people really, really liked it. So I'm bringing it back. I started again last night doing a wood carving Wednesday. And so, so it's fun just because I can chat with people and just kind of, make myself do some carving. So very therapeutic.
Absolutely. It's great fun. So how can people follow you and watch one of these? Is the best
just
place?
Wherever Jeff Sieh, you find me, just search for Jeff Sieh. It's I before E, especially in Sieh. So that's SIEH. And yeah, I'm everywhere. If you want to follow me on Amazon, it's jeffsieh.live. That'll take you right to my Amazon storefront. We're actually streaming there now because, why not? Yeah. So we're going to, because Ian and I are going to be talking about gear. It's a perfect show for that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the tech and gear. So I'm going live to all my channels. Jeff is going live to his channels plus Amazon Live. So, it's great. It's great to live in an age when we can do all those cool things. And I can see Eric Fisher is here causing commotion. He's saying, I want to see Jeff Sieh carve a turkey.
I will carve it. I'll be smoking a turkey. You have to roll them really thin. But no, you smoke a turkey and then I'll be carving it up next week. So yeah, awesome. It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
Now I wonder whether this is wondering if this is Kim Gast speaking. It's Facebook user, so I can't actually see who it is, but Rhonda loves watching you do wood carving. I need to buy that snowman from you.
She loves my she bought like my entire stock one Christmas that I had made of all the penguins. She really wants the snowman, so I need to make one for Kim Garsh. Thanks, Kim, for chiming in. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we got it right. It is Kim. Great to see you, Kim. It's been a while since we've all hung out together. And Katie says, I really loved that show. It's relaxing for the audience too. The music in the background helps too. So yeah, I need to tune in for the next one. So let's get in with the tech and gear, because
sure.
First of all, I think it's really important to say that all the gear and tools that we have today is not necessarily, well, it isn't what we'd recommend beginners start with. Right. So what we don't want in what we're talking about today is to put you off or for you to feel overwhelmed. You can just start off with a fairly basic setup. And so that's my first question to you, Jeff. Like, how did you first get started in the live streaming world, and what did you start with? What was your gear back in those days and in the olden days?
The olden days of Google Plus and Google Plus Hangouts is when we started. I actually just started, I think, with my camera on my iMac. And if you go back and look, these were actually pre-Beard days. Like, I I call it like Ian and some other people with BBFs were before beard friends, and Ian was one of them. But you can actually look at some of those videos and see, like, I just had my background with shelves, and I think the mic I used, I think I started with the Blue Yeti because I asked Shannon Hernandez what's the best mic. He actually helps me produce podcasts, and I was using that for a long, long time. So you just slowly, upgraded microphones, slowly upgraded the camera, and you accumulate gear as you go. But you definitely do not have to start there. You can start now with just your phone, and you be way ahead of where I started.
Yeah, definitely. Katie's saying, laughing at the pre-beer days. And Mike Alton is here from gloomy London. Yeah, you come over to the UK, Mike, and this is the welcome you get.
Bring it with
Grey
you.
skies and stuff like that. But looking forward to seeing you next week, Mike, in good old London. So I don't know who this is. Facebook user again, but the question is, hi guys, will you share the ins and outs of basic gear? And that's what we're talking about right now, actually. How about for those all traveling or working on the road, what's your basic setup, software, hardware, those kind of things? And so, like, let's fast forward to now. Now, if you were starting like from scratch now, like what would you recommend people start off with, Jeff, like in terms of like the gear, the tech? First of all, maybe for in studio, and then we can talk about
Sure.
like if it's remote and traveling around.
So the first thing, I think that most of the time that people can get by with their phone camera, because there's even software that allows you to use your phone as a webcam, and the new Macs are actually letting you use it as a webcam now. So I think with the camera, that's the second thing you upgrade. The first thing would be your sound, because people will forgive bad video, but they will not forgive bad audio. So the first thing I would do is get a good microphone. You can get one for under $100. If you kind of want to go out of the gate, I really recommend these Shure. This is the MV7, and this is their White Noir. It's a special Amazon edition one that you can only get on there, which I really like. I really like the sound of. It's not super expensive, but the cool thing is it's not just a XLR mic where you can plug it into a soundboard. It also is a USB mic, so you have that option. So when you first start, you may not have a soundboard, and you could just plug it in with USB, and it's got some great software, makes you sound really, really good. So it's very versatile. So if I was going to buy a microphone out of the gate, I would get this microphone. It comes in black too. This is just the special edition. So I really, really like that one for getting started. Now, I also love my Heil PR40, which I use all the time. I kind of go back and forth between the two. This one will not, it's only plugs into a soundboard and an XLR cable. It sounds really great. I love this mic. I've used it for years. Ian, you have one. But to get started, like from scratch, I would get one that has the option of not just the XLR, but also the USB. So you can upgrade really, really easy when it comes time.
That's really great advice. And I think I started on a similar path to you. I started with the Blue Yeti microphone. And I like you, I would say, like you can almost like be okay with the inbuilt webcam of your computer. It's not always great, but focus on upgrading on the microphone first and then upgrade later. But today, I think things have changed. I mean, the Blue Yeti is still okay, but I've not tried the Shure microphone, but I hear lots of really good things about it. There's also the Samson QTU, that's SAMSON, is another good one, which is good. But I do like my Heil, I have to say.
Yeah,
I do like it.
Heils, they sound really great. The other thing that I would say is, we were talking about cameras and waiting on a camera. In fact, the when I was doing this overhead shot with that's my phone. That is my phone camera on a mount. And somebody asked a question earlier about going, mobile setups. Using your phone, and I use an app called Shoot, and it's the one that Ecamm recommends. And I use that when I'm on the road. I'll use my phone on just a little mini tripod, because I've had to do my live show from a hotel room, and I just plug in my run Ecamm, plug in my phone. I bring there's a really great mic that Shure makes. It's a video kit. It's called the MV88. And it's really super small. It's a condenser mic. I can actually set it in and use that, and it packs really, really small. And so for mobile use, that's what I can't remember who asked that question, but that's what I would use. I would use my phone, and I would just get one of those MV88 traveling kind of for a kind of a travel kit. But yeah, I would use my phone right off the bat. People forget how powerful those cameras are on those phones.
It's mad, isn't it? Because to get much better than that, you're going to have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, to get it to the next level. And arguably the cameras on these are, better than cameras that are like $400 or $500 or whatever,
right.
And so like with the new Macs, you can plug them in the iPhones, but there's a great app. I don't know if you use this called Camo, CAMO. And that's a great, and it works wirelessly, or you can plug it in. Now, I think, Lou Mangello is here. Great to see you, Lou. Lou's been on the show before. Special edition for a special dude, talking about your special microphone.
Yes, I'm very special.
Well, yeah, indeed. Katie asking a question, which is a really good question. Have you got a special mount for your overhead shot? How do you do that, Jeff?
Yes, so I have the Elgato Flex mount, the mini mount, and it actually just goes, and like I'm touching my phone right here, it's just out of sight. Because I film so many Amazon videos, I have it just kind of, I've got so many things on my desk, but I have it's just on an arm that sits right there, and I just screw it in. There's just kind of your standard metal iPhone mount that goes on the end of it, and I just have it right above my desk. And then with Ecamm, it's really cool because you can actually zoom in or zoom out, and it's a 4K camera up there that I can use for my product shot. So it just works really, really well. I can switch between it, and we'll talk about some of the other gear that I use. But it's really, really slick to be able to do that. And because I was like, when I first started doing like Amazon videos, I'm like, how am I gonna do an overhead shot? Because I actually have a little Brio microphone. I mean, a little Brio camera that I used to use for my carving that I would just have on a little tripod. But being able to just put my phone up there, and the app that I use is called Shoot, just SHOOT. It's got, if you look for it on the App Store, it has a little like camera icon on it. And the cool thing about that is, as soon as I start that app, it puts everything in do not disturb. So if somebody calls me, I don't ruin a shot or my live show. But yeah, it's just a little Elgato mini mount that has an arm on it. Those are super handy that you can adjust any way you want. So that's what I've been using.
That's awesome. I've got a similar setup. I don't know whether the tech's going to work here, but if I go to there, I've got that.
Exactly,
so I haven't actually. Yeah. So is that similar? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's a little mounty thing there that you plug it into. So yeah,
and I always use mine plugged in because it just is more stable. I mean, you can use wireless modes, and a lot of people do that. I tend to, since I do so much live streaming, never have anything wireless. I know the Dealcasters were on last night talking with the guys from Shure, and they're talking about they have some wireless monitor headphones. I just don't use Bluetooth because I've had them cancel out in the middle of a live show, and I just never do that now. So I have wired headphones. I know you have the Mickey Mouse ears going, but that's important for live. But I just don't trust wireless. So
yeah, and I think earphones are really important to reduce the amount of potential for echo and that kind of thing. I have these Mickey Mouse ones. I mean, these are the Bose Quiet Comfort headphones, and
I love those.
To be honest, I wear them because they're really comfortable, and I don't know.
And you look snazzy. It look really snazzy too.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Or there's these, these are the kind of ones that you're wearing, which are behind the ears. So yeah. So I hope that answers your question. We've got Joe Renshaw here saying, "Good morning, Jeff. Haven't caught up with you since back to work. Hope all is well. God bless, and have a great Thanksgiving."
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for popping in the stream. I saw him pop in the other day as well. So thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate all of you watching live. And
Joe?
Of course, if you haven't, if you're listening to the podcast and you'd like to find out more, just follow me on socials, on YouTube, maybe youtube.com/Ian Anderson Gray, and you can get involved live. Sorry, Jeff, what were you going to say?
I was going to say Joe is a singer as well. Like, you're a big, professional singer. Joe is a singer. You guys need to, talk amongst yourselves.
Awesome. Well, we've got a lot of singers in the room because Katie Simpson is also she's professionally trained.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a musical world, and you could bring out your banjo, and we could play the piano. Yeah, we could make it all musical. So Katie's saying, yeah. So the Shoot app and Elgato Flexi mount, I think it's called. So yeah, but it's all a case of just starting small and building it over time. So tell us, let's go back to the present day. Tell us a little bit more about what you've got set up. You've got your mount for your downward-facing camera. Tell us about your camera, your mic. You've told us about your microphone, but a few other things about your setup.
So these here, these are the Shure SE 215s. I really like those. They have a little breakaway, so if you need to switch them out, and you can actually switch them and have them be. They sell a wireless adapter, so you can actually take these and make them wireless, which is very, very cool. The camera that I'm using is the Canon M50. And it's got that really, I can't remember the lens, but it's the shallow lens that lets me have kind of that little bit of blur in the background, because I don't have a lot of space between me and my background. So I wanted to get as much blur as possible. So I got that lens for it. I really like the mirrorless cameras. I think that's what you use as well, Ian. I just really, really like it. It's on another Elgato mount behind my iMac. Is what I use to I've been using it for years. And in the front of that, I have a Parrot teleprompter, which is very, very cool, because my phone also becomes my teleprompter, because it sits in a little cradle underneath that. And when I'm doing my show for like my bios that I read, and then our show flow is all in there. So I can be looking at the camera, and I have an app on my phone called Teleprompter that I'm able to just scroll through with my mouse, or I can actually use my watch. I can do all sorts of things and be looking at the camera. It's really also very handy for doing presentations or even doing product videos over on Amazon.
Oh, I love that. I didn't know you could control it with your watch. I need to look into that, because that would be quite useful. I'm kind of like continually like scrolling here.
Well, the cool thing is the teleprompter app actually has, and I use it as well, it actually has a desktop version too. So what I do a lot of times is I'll have, eCams open with all the windows, and then have that teleprompter app, and I'll just use my mouse to scroll through it, and it does it when you're scrolling it on the desktop. It scrolls it on your app on your phone, which is the teleprompter.
Awesome. Well, if you've just joined us, we're talking about tech. We're going behind the scenes with my good friend Jeff Sieh, talking about his setup and his favorite gear and tools. So we've been talking about microphones, cameras, and a few other bits and bobs. I can see we've got a few other people watching us live. We've got Addicted to Dirt PRs, who says, "Hi Jeff, we met at Momentum. Thoughts on clip-on wireless lapel microphones for mobile scenarios?" So first of all, you might want to tell us a bit about Momentum, because that happened recently, and you were speaking at Momentum.
I've spoke there twice. That's Lou Mongello's event, who just popped in not very long ago. It's amazing. It's at Disney. It's right across the street from Disney Springs. Of course, we go to the hotel. You can go to the park really easy. But it's a 2-day event, and it's he only has it for 50 people. But it is so very cool, because as a speaker, it feels like you can really help people. But it's really hands-on. It's really, really cool. Duncan Wardle spoke, who is one of my favorite speakers. Lou he's okay, but he's a nice guy, and we'll let him pass with some of the things. But no, it's a lot of fun. If you don't know, he does the WDW Radio podcast, which has been around forever. He's the OG podcaster. He's been doing it. He wins multiple awards for his show and podcast, but great guy, great event. But to the question, Rode makes a really great, I've seen a lot of YouTubers use a clip-on mic that attaches I think it attaches to your phone. I just got, it's called, here it is. I have not reviewed it yet, but it's from, it's a company called MOVO. I can't get it in shot here, but it goes to the bottom of your phone, and there's 2 wireless microphones. So I'm going to test it. So stay tuned, and I'll let you know how it works, but it looks really, really cool. I know some other people have used it and really, really like it. So I'm testing this out for mobile use as well.
That looks awesome. I'd be really interested to find out more about that. Yeah. I've used a few different things. There's like the Rode shotgun mics, but you have to attach this to what's called a cold shoe, and that doesn't mean you've got cold feet, but you put it on there. And then of course there's the Rode also do these wireless, what they call the wireless. I'm going to forget what it's called now. Go to, I think they're called.
Yeah.
And they're quite cool. And you attach them to you. You can either put lapel mic into them, or you just attach them to your top, and they work quite well. So there's a few different ones. But
Addicted to Dirt too. Another thing, if you're going, because I know he goes and records races, and I think he does some interviews there as well. I did a review on it over on Amazon. But it's the Shure MV88 video kit, and it has a condenser mic, and you can actually change the actual cone of how you want your sound if you're doing a live event, or if you want to focus it on a certain person. And you can turn it so you can set it between two of you as an interview, and it'll pick it up from both sides and record it that way too. And it does work for it's made for mobile devices and made to plug into your phone. So very, very cool. It's the Shure MV88.
Awesome. I need to find out a little bit more about the Shure microphones, because there's so many different makes out there.
Yeah.
We have tried Heil, Rode, but Shure are good. Shure are definitely good. Eric Fisher is here. We were talking about donuts the other day. We all met up in 2019 in Franklin, Tennessee, and I actually didn't have any donuts because I'm weird. I don't have sugar in my diet. But you guys were
everything that's fun. Ian does not eat.
Exactly. Yes, it's a hard life. It's a hard life. But Eric says we need to do a barbershop quartet live stream someday. That would be awesome. We just need to sort out the latency issue, because as we all tried to sing happy birthday to my daughter on a few of us meet up.
That was rough.
And it didn't go terribly well because we're all in different times. But if we can sort that out, then that would be awesome. Great idea, Eric. And Tim Begonia's here saying, hello, gentlemen. Great info. Jeff, good to see you, my friend. Good stuff as always.
Oh, yes. He's another guy who was at Momentum. He is amazing graphic designer. He spoke about branding. He did a great job. Really good speaker. I love to collect speakers that are good, and Tim is a great one, but he is an awesome designer as well.
Awesome. Good to know. Well, thank you, Tim, for joining us. And Addicted to Dirt PL says, you're correct, Jeff. Noisy environment at times. Great suggestion. And I suppose the other thing is, if you're broadcasting live, there's not much you can do about this. But if you can always remove some of the background noise in post-production afterwards. But Paul, is it Paul Gouda or Gouda? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. He says, "Is this a Momentum reunion?" It looks like your pals with you, Jeff.
It did. Paul is amazing. He does powwows.com. One of the biggest Native American. He streams powwows from across the country where they come together, and he is an amazing guy. You talk about community. Lou Mangello's great community builder. He is as well. Paul is amazing. We've actually had him on our show before too. So make sure if you're watching that, go back and listen to that episode. But Paul's amazing. That's why I like Momentum. There's so many amazing people. Ian, you got to get there. I'm telling you, you would love it.
I'd love it. Well, any excuse to go back to Disney and go back to the US as well. I always have to have my little fix. So definitely, I will definitely do that. So thank you for joining us, Paul. And Paul is asking us a great question. What sound mixer are you guys using? And we were talking about this earlier. You don't need to start off with a sound mixer. You can just get a USB microphone, like Jeff's microphone. The Shure microphone is XLR, but it's also USB. So you could just start. That's what I'd recommend. I'm sure you'd say the same, Jeff. But if you want to take things up a little bit, getting a sound mixer can give you a lot more kind of flexibility and other cool stuff. So are you using a sound mixer, Jeff? And if so, which one?
So I'm using the Rodecaster Pro, the first one. They just came out with the second edition. Once again, I said no to the shiny object syndrome and didn't get it, because this is one that's working well. I've had it for years. When the first version came out, it's actually overkill probably for what I need it for, but I really like the processing that it does. So there's processing that's going on right now with my voice, because otherwise I sound like Mickey Mouse or Kermit the Frog or some strange cartoon. But it does a really great job, I think, of making this voice the sound the way I want it to. So that's why I like using a soundboard. But like Ian said, you do not have to have one to get started. Now, if you want to take it up a notch, there are a couple different things. I know for a while you used a couple different things, Ian, before you got your Rodecaster. You have the Rodecaster 2? Did you get the second one?
Yeah, I did upgrade. So that's the Rodecaster Pro
there
2
it is.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, to be
It's a
honest,
nice
it's
little
not hugely there are cool things about it, but I wouldn't recommend if you have a Rodecaster 1 to necessarily chuck it out the window and get the new one.
Right.
But when I wanted to take things to the next level, first of all, I got the Heil PR40 microphone, and I got a Scarlett 2i2, which is like a little digital interface. And I think they're great. They're really cool ones. But then I spoke to my good friend Mike Russell, who I think you know. Yeah. And he is Mr. Audio. He's been on the show before, and he kind of like put me into this like I went in this big long journey of upgrading things. So he recommended this digital interface called the DBX286S, and that sits in between, and that basically does all the audio processing. The cool thing about the Rodecaster Pro is it has all of that in, and it's not that complicated. And actually, since then, Mike Russell has basically been recommending the Rodecaster Pro. So now we don't have to be complicated. We can just go for these.
The other thing that's good about the Rodecaster, both 1 and 2, is that there is, and I'm in a noisy environment. Like I have fans going, and I have a little bit of sound treatment with wood ceilings and carpet, but sometimes my fan goes, and it has those settings where you can actually help remove the background noise and noise gate on it and stuff like that, so you can really kind of control your environment and kind of clean it up. It's just nice if you can do that for like podcasts and other things, but it's not, you don't need it. Like everything we're saying, you do not need to wait and to go live. If you have any inkling about getting on and going live, you just need to do it. Do it with your phone, do it with the phone's mic, but just go, and then you can upgrade as you continue on your live streaming journey. Definitely.
And there is, we talk a lot about on the show about mindset issues, and today's more of a tech episode. And we've talked about things like imposter syndrome and comparisonitis and all this kind of stuff. There is a kind of, I don't think it's like a proper disorder, but it's basically gear acquisition disorder or something like that, where you basically, you can't stop yourself but buy equipment. And I think we probably both have a bit of that. I don't know.
And it's bad if your friend gets it. Then you're like, I got to get the Rodecaster Pro 2 now because he has it. I can't let Ian have it and me not have it.
I know, it's bad. Yeah. So I'm hoping you're not going to upgrade to the Mac Studio, because that's, I've been looking at that. I will eventually. Yeah. And like $8,000 for the top model.
I know. I know.
So if you're watching us, you need to hold us accountable, guys, because we could
hold Ian accountable, because I'm already going to buy it.
we could go bankrupt with all this gear we're buying. Pat Mills is in the house saying hi, guys. Great to see you, Pat. Hey, Pat. How you doing? Well,
she stopped by the carving show last night. So Pat, thank you once again for joining in.
Awesome. Right. Well, so thank you. So we've talked about a lot of stuff. Maybe let's talk about we'll go back to gear in a minute, but let's talk about software and tools as well before we go back to have another chat about gear. So tell us about some of the tools that you're using on your computer.
So I talked about teleprompter, which is the one that I think is really good and gives you a lot of you talk about being confident, being able to have, like somebody's bio on there that you can read and not look like you're reading is really, really cool. So that's one that I would use all the time. Ecamm, I know they sponsor my show and they're friends with you too as well, but I could not do what I do without Ecamm. It's amazing software. It lets me, switch cameras, all the stuff that you're seeing, overlays, all the cool things that you do, you could do an Ecamm, and it keeps getting easier and better every time they do a release. So cannot say enough about that. The other thing is, which is really cool and is a little bit of our secret sauce, and I'm going to spill the, I think you say spill the tea. Is that how you do spill the tea over there? I don't know. But that is Restream, and doing Restream pairs, which allows us to go everywhere. The Restream pairs part of it is really, really cool. So whenever I have a guest, or like even Ian did for this show today, is that you send them a Restream pairs link, and they're able to pair all their social channels with you without having any special permissions or anything like that. And that's how Ian is actually bringing a lot of my Momentum friends on, is they're watching on my channels, and he's able to bring their comments on to his show without any funky permissions and having to go and share passwords and all that stuff. So it's really, really cool. So we've really had some great success with our show when we're able to bring on people like who are way like bigger than us on a certain platform like YouTube. We see our subscribe count go up because we're using that, and we're almost kind of like borrowing their audience, and people who like us will follow us, and vice versa. So that is kind of a really cool thing that Restream has done. And I don't know if there's any other software out there that does anything like it. So that's kind of the secret sauce if you're doing a live stream and you want to kind of increase your viewership.
Yeah, but obviously, if you have a guest, that makes a lot of sense, because you know, you can spread the word. And yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Jeff sharing that out, we wouldn't have any of you cool Momentum people coming along today, and probably wouldn't have anyone watching, actually, because you know. But
posh, is that what you say? I don't know how you say it.
Golly gosh.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Well,
Very
yeah.
British.
So, well, thank you, Pat, for joining us. I know you need to go, but you can catch the replay. We had somebody in the Facebook group. I can't see who you are, unfortunately, because it says Facebook user. But there's a question here: is there a PDF or a list of gear needed and software needed essentials, something similar to this? And this is on the PTZ Optics site. Maybe another PDF sharing your best learning mistakes. We've talked about mistakes quite a bit on the show, and I think when you were last on the show, this is quite a while ago, you shared some of your big mistakes there. I've got a gear guide. If you go to iag.me/gear guide, that's iag.me/gear guide, you can see all the gear that I use. I am working on one for beginners as well, because the stuff that I've got on there is perhaps a little bit overkill for most people's needs. What have you got anything, Jeff?
Yeah, so I just did one for Ecamm had Leap into Podcasting, which you can still go back and if you get their, I think it's ecamm.com/merch. If you get their guide, you can go and get access to all the recordings. I know Ian trained on there as well. But we have one. If you go to socialmedianewslive.com/leap, I believe will bring you to, we put together the 100 questions to ask your live show guest, Grace and I's gear list, our emails that we send out to guests, and also kind of our show flow template. So if you want those kind of things, socialmedianewslive.com/leap will get you all the goodies.
We like goodies. Yeah, that is, I've just checked, and that is the
Does it work?
It does work. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can grab the gear list, icebreaker questions, run of show template, and more. That looks really cool. So do check that out at socialmedianewslive.com/leap. Thanks for that, Jeff. Yeah. So let's. So we've talked to. Yeah, we can go back to gear now. I think we've got our tool thing out the way.
All right. So I want to talk about, because since we both produce shows a lot, some of the tools that we use. So I'm going to go back to my camera here. And I use this all. These are my stream decks. So I have 2 of them. So this one over here it's kind of always stays the same. I've got a commercial that I play at the end. It kind of tells me view counts, but I can control my lights as well from the stream deck. So if you don't know what the stream deck is, it allows you to actually, take everything, and you can actually program all these keys to anything you want. And it's just super. And actually, even when I shut my computer down, my logo comes up here when I restart. It's really cool. And this is the Stream Deck XL. The XL is the large one, and it's got more buttons. And you can see for my overhead shot, I don't really have a ton of things. This is for my carving show. I don't have a lot of things. I have a little if I click this, a little ticker will start going across the screen that I've set all this stuff up in Ecamm. But the cool thing about the Stream Deck, and I'm going to switch this over, is I have multiple shows that I do. So I'm going to go show you. I'm going to switch this one over to the Social Media News Live one, and you can see it's all populating now with what I have for my Social Media News Live show. And it's really cool because...
Sorry to interrupt you, but can you just maybe for podcast listeners explain what we're seeing on the screen there? Because that looks really cool.
So what it does is it switches all the shots because it's a different show, and it populates them on the Stream Deck, and actually will have it takes your live camera shots. And this is what happened on last, I'm trying to bring it up a little closer, last show. And you can see I have my guest on there. I had, who did I have on? Oh, I had Connor on there. So Connor's picture is still on there. But this allows me to switch cameras. I'm always bringing up like lower thirds of my, my guest and what they're doing. And it gives me a visual representation where I can just switch between them very, very quickly. And I can bring up like, I'm not going to do it because I mess everything up. But anyway, it brings up my overlays and I can turn things on and off. But it is invaluable for producing a show. So I really, really love my Stream Deck. I know you use one as well, Ian, but being able to switch between shows, a lot of people will use these for editing. You can use it for different programs. You can control your lights. You can control, I think, your thermostats. Ecamm has built in to Stream Deck. They have like presets that are already there, so it's really easy to configure a show. So I'm always stoked about my Stream Deck. I use it for everything. And when I travel, I take this with me and I can produce a show on the go.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I mean, I'm a massive, massive fan of the Stream Deck as well. And it's amazing the way you can connect it with basically everything, as you say.
Right.
It's I mean, it does the, I've got my lights, and there's even like profiles you can download to help it work with YouTube and Adobe Audition or whatever it is that you're playing around with. It's amazing. But it's particularly good with Ecamm. And as you can probably tell, we're both Ecamm fans here, but we're not saying that there aren't other tools out there. There's StreamYard, there's Restream, there's OBS.
But Ecamm is the best.
Yeah, well, that's what I would agree with you. But we try and be on the show. We do try and be. I
know. I'll be nice.
What's the word?
Agnostic. Platform agnostic.
I tried to be, and then you come on the show and it all goes out the window. So but just to say, when it comes to the Stream Deck, they do kind of work with web-based tools like StreamYard and Wave Video, but it's a bit of a hack because you have to map keyboard shortcuts. It's not quite the same. So just bear that in mind. If you're going to take things to the next level, I would, and I'm sure Jeff would recommend Ecamm. Get yourself, if you're not a Mac user, get yourself a Mac Mini, an M1 Mac Mini. That's what I use. Works really well, and they're not too expensive. Or if you like Jeff, just go for the $8,000 Mac Studio, and yeah.
Shh, don't tell my wife. No, I haven't got it yet. I gotta, yeah. It's very, very nice, and someday, but yeah.
Yeah, let's moving on swiftly. So we've talked about the Stream Deck. How about you? You've showed your keyboard quite a few times, which is a Logitech one. I've got the Apple Magic keyboard with the Touch ID, and I've got a Logitech mouse, and I've got the Apple trackpad. But tell us about your keyboard or mouse. I know these sound boring, but I think they're things that we use all the time.
So I just have the black Apple mouse. I still use that one. This is it's actually, I've had two of these because I spilled coffee on one of them and I really like it. It's wireless and it's solar powered. So it's just a Mac keyboard. I still have to use the keys. Let me tell you though, can I share one more thing with you, Ian?
Of course. Yeah, please do.
That is, so I'm going to talk about post-production, and this is pricey.
You've got the Loop Deck,
but it's worth it. So this is what I use now to edit everything. And now I'll say this: Stream Deck just came out with a version of their small Stream Deck that has actual physical buttons on it. Loop Deck makes one that's just this top part where these are all physical buttons that I can change. The thing is, just like the Stream Deck, all this stuff changes based on whatever you're using, right? So like right now, it's just showing my desktop because I don't have any of the things open. But when I open Premiere, all this changes. This is a scroll wheel. This turns, everything that I do. I mean, I can scroll through my timeline.
So that is a scroll wheel, but it looks like there's a clock on it. So if you're listening to the podcast, this is the Loop Deck, which I think is spelled, is it LOOPE?
LOUPE Deck, and this is the big one. This is the top model. All this stuff is you can change it, you can program it. But like even in on this big scroll wheel, this top changes and it actually turns into a play and stop button and advance You can also, when you go into color editing, this changes to a color wheel, and I can just move my finger and kind of paint to what hue I want to go to. When I'm in Audition, Adobe Audition, all this changes, and I'm able to scroll through the timeline. I can zoom up and down. These are physical buttons here at the top that you see, and they're actually, you can click them, and you can also, there's little notches you can feel when you're doing it. This is buttery smooth. All these you can advance. I mean, it's just so powerful. I'm still learning the best way, to use it. And it works with Photoshop, Audition, all the big editing tools, DaVinci Resolve, anything you need. There's probably a preset for it, or you can actually go and do it yourself and program it the way you want. But yeah, like this is like up here at the top, and these all scroll through. Like I can go to a calculator here just by swiping my hands over here. These change as well, the side buttons. So it is an incredible tool. So if you're doing a lot of editing and you can't afford this loop deck, I would look at just getting something with a scroll wheel. Having a scroll wheel where you can go through your timeline just saves you so much time. But I love this little thing. And it is pricey, very expensive. But you count how many hours I've saved by using this. It's paid for itself many, many times over. So
I knew there was another reason for not having you on the show, Jeff.
Now you want one, don't you?
No, I've got two big XL Stream Decks and a standard one, so I kind of feel that's overkill. But now I'm thinking,
you can use this.
I need dials.
You could use this for live streaming. I don't. I just use it just for editing. So because I'm always in Photoshop or Audition or Premiere or After Effects, and they all have presets, and it takes a while to learn them, but there's just something really satisfying about turning a little dial and having your screen like move, and it's just nice. So anyway.
Well, there we go. Awesome. Well, that is the loop decks, and we talked about Elgato Stream Decks. We talked about the loop deck. We've talked about using your phone as a camera. We talked about cameras and microphones and tools. I think we've probably talked about most things. Are there any, just before we finish? Are there any other gear or tools that we've missed out?
So the tool that I use all the time for everything, and we actually edit all of Guy's podcasts in it, is Descript or Descript, or I don't know how they say it. But anyway, what it is, if you do not know what it actually is a transcription kind of engine that so I upload whenever I'm done with a show, I upload it to Descript. It automatically takes a transcription. And when I edit the transcription, it actually edits the audio or the video, whichever one I want. So for me, after I'm done with the show, like I said, I upload it all. It creates a transcription. I can read where I want to have those clips out, and I just highlight them. I export that, and it comes with I can export that little clip for social media. I can make an audiogram. It already has the subtitles because it's a transcription, so you already have all the text. You can put that in there. But that's another tool that I use every day. They've just released a new version. Very, very cool features inside of it. So if you haven't checked out Descript, you need to, because it is another huge time saver.
It is amazing, and it's kind of, I think Ecamm and Descript and there's a few tools like that kind of at the center of everything, right. Really, my production. I'm very excited at the end of this show. I'm using a new version of Ecamm, it's recording not only the video that you see, but it's recording my video and Jeff's video separately. So what I'm hoping I can do is to put those 3 videos into Descript layered, and then once I go through and I edit this into a podcast, I can then edit them into for example, I could just create a snippet of just Jeff speaking, and we don't have any of the overlays on the screen. So that's going to be cool. So that's one of the new things with Descript. With the storyboard function, it is multi-layered. You can do lots of cool things there. So
the other thing we did not talk about, and it's probably the last thing you probably would want to it depends on where you're at, I guess. The last thing to upgrade is lights. So yes. I use Elgato key lights, and I love them because they're actually strapped to, they actually are clamped to my desk, and I have a standing desk. So when it goes up, everything goes up. So I don't have to rearrange things, which is very, very cool. Actually, my computer's actually clamped to it as well. But once again, it's all controllable through the Stream Deck. So I can turn off my lights with my Stream Deck. I'm just hitting the buttons and turning everything off, and then I just turn it on again when I'm ready to go, and my white balance is going to go funky for a while. But anyway, that's really, really handy. What lights do you use, Ian? Because I know you have some lights there as well.
Yeah, I use the key lights too. So I used to use there's a company called Newer. So I'd definitely recommend these. Probably the cheapest ones are these soft boxes, but they tend to be very bulky, get quite hot as well. The LED lights from Newer are good. So that's Neewer. I had those for a while. I still got them. But the thing, I'll let you say, the thing about the Elgato key lights is you can control it from your computer or the Stream Deck. And it means you're not having to go behind your desk and mess around with those. So I think that's definitely what I'd
and
recommend
you can
these
change
days.
the temperature of them too. Like it can be warmer or you can make them cooler. And that's the other great thing is you can do that right from your Stream Deck. Like you can actually change the temperature with configuring those buttons on your Stream Deck. So it's very, very cool.
Definitely. It is awesome. And then probably the final thing is, and this is the thing that I have to admit, I get a little bit, I don't know what the word is, not confused about, but just I feel this is the thing that I'm not quite so good at, and that is my background. Now, my background at the moment, if I just go full screen, and I'll explain if you're listening to the podcast, so I've got a little plant in my background, and it's basically a wallpaper of, I'm spoiling all the secrets now, but basically it's wallpaper behind me of a brick wall. And I'm looking to enhance my background, make it a little bit more exciting. But explain to podcast listeners your background and how it all works, because it is pretty cool.
So I'm actually in a portable building behind my house. I call it my 30-second commute. So it's one, I'm very blessed that I have one, and it's very, very cool that I can have it in my own space. But this is just actually like barn siding that I got from Lowe's. I put the hinges on, and because it gets hot in here, this part actually flips around so I have some airflow. But I open it up for when I'm doing shows. But these are just signs that I think it started with you can't see it very well, but the man cave sign right here. It started with that when my kids got me for Father's Day. And then I went to, not Home Depot, like at Michael's or one of those kind of shows, and just bought a bunch of signs and put them up. So it works for me. I probably need to think about changing it up because I've had it for years, but it's kind of now part of the branding. And so I think it looks great and I like it. I wish I had a little bit more blurry background, but for where I'm at, because it's all the way against the back wall, it works. So I remember when I first started live streaming, I wanted to do something different than everybody else was doing. And I think that having a nice background kind of helped.
It does, I think, to help you stand out. Well, when you get the $8,000 Mac Studio, you can upgrade your camera and lens and it'll all be good. There we go.
Well, I'll have all that extra money. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thanks, Jeff. It's been awesome to have you on the show. It's been ages since you were last on, so thank you for coming back on. And we'll have to do it again sometime. Well, so what's next for you? What are you working on in the next few weeks? Obviously, you've got Thanksgiving next week, so I'll be thinking of you then.
So I'm ramping up for Black Friday and Cyber Monday over on Amazon. Since you're an Amazon influencer as well, so I'm doing a lot of stuff over there at jeffc.live. Like we were streaming over here. I've got a lot of product videos I need to shoot and upload, some brand deals and things going on. But yeah, and the show every Friday at 10 a.m. Central. We've got a great guest coming up. We have Amanda Robinson coming up tomorrow. So we're gonna be talking about all the stuff going on over at Meta or Facebook or whatever, Meta Facebook,
whatever it's called.
Whatever it's called today. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that is 4 p.m. in the UK, if you want a translation, but that's every Friday. Do check that out. That is awesome. And how can people find out more about you? You've scattered yourself across the socials and the interwebs, but tell us a bit about your website and your socials and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, jeffc.com. Last name is spelled S as in Sam, I-E-H, I before E, especially in C. And you can find me, you just Google that, and you can see all my socials. I'm pretty much everywhere. But jeffc.com is where you can find me. And then jeffc.live is where you can see everything I'm doing over on Amazon. And going to be doing a lot more streaming over there as the holidays near.
Sounds good. And you can see Jeff dancing on TikTok, of course, as well.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Well, I like the yes, so it could be coming. Well, thanks, Jeff. It's been great to have you on the show. We are out of time, but thank you so much for watching, if you're watching live or the replay, or for plugging us into your ears. We really appreciate that. If you haven't come across the podcast, you can find that out at iag.me/podcast, and you can follow and listen in your favorite podcasting app. And as we ramp things up towards episode 200, we've got some very exciting things coming, so I wouldn't want you to miss any of those things. But until next time, I encourage you to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of Confident Live videos. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Make sure you subscribe at iag.me/podcast so you can continue to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of live video.
And until next time,
Toodaloo.